Hi, Lee. I'd like to welcome you to the Anxiety Showcase series that I'm doing. Yeah. And I'd like to introduce you first. Lee Glickstein is founder of Speaking Circles International and author of Be Heard Now, End Your Fear of Public Speaking Forever. His innovative protocol for healing public speaking anxiety is offered in 6 languages around the world. And in these days of social distancing, he has devised an ingenious way of leading sessions via Zoom. Welcome, Lee. I'd like to ask you to answer this question and we can discuss it further, but what are the strategies that you use to help people who have public speaking anxiety? How do you help them with this anxiety to overcome it and be confident?
Thank you, Doreen, for inviting me. You've asked the best question, my favorite question in the universe, because I had awful speaking anxiety, not just in groups, but one-on-one. And what I learned for myself that I began to pass on 25 years ago to the world is that the reason for public speaking anxiety isn't a block in speaking, it's a block in receiving the available listening. So I started speaking circles with the principle, or before speaking circles, on the road to speaking circles, that the work was for the listeners. So I'd get little groups together and the work was for the listeners to give the kind of listening that the person whose turn it would be for finite periods of time, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, would have the main priority of noticing the listening, because the block again isn't a block in speaking, it's a block in receiving the available listening. So we make sure the listening is available by giving the audience the opportunity to listen in a soft, steady gaze of kind regard. And when you ask people to do that, they're really good at doing it, it turned out. And then the person up front puts their whole priority on receiving the listening and giving up what they think they have to say. Just, oh my God, the beauty of people being available for you, for a person, is enough to blow your mind. And once your mind is blown, you start to talk about things that matter, that things that must be said. There's a Simon and Garfunkel song comes to me, the dangling conversation. I won't get to the part of the song, and the superficial lies.
Yes.
But,
yeah.
Anxiety is a matter of, and I think the bigger picture, before you ask, I think most anxiety is about disconnection, the fear of disconnection. I bite my nails. And that the antidote is learning to allow the connection through the eyes, which in our culture is where we indicate that we're available.
Yeah, I know. I've been one of your students for many years. You're a mentor of mine. So the idea of softening the eyes is what I've heard you say.
Yeah, we need soft eyes, and we don't get much soft eyes in life, do we? Yeah, we just have to ask for it. Would you please soften your eyes for me? So that's all I do is I have people soften their eyes for a couple hours at speaking circles, and now with virtual Zoom circles, just an hour to soften your eyes.
Well, the listening, what you're saying about the listening that is expansive and open, it feels like the person who is receiving this kind of listening then gets a sense that they've really been seen and heard in a way that they never have before, because we aren't trained to listen to each other in this way.
Yeah, I never, for most of my life, I didn't feel seen and heard. And I was such a shy little boy that I didn't know how to push my way through. And the only thing I could do, I was in my late 40s and I still had this awful stage fright, and knowing I had a message or something to give the world and not knowing even what it was, but the frustration. So I literally had to direct groups of people. I mean, I did this all for myself, and luckily it works for other people. So I made a career and I made a life work out of it. But I asked people to give me their eyes for finite periods of time, like 3 minutes, and just, I don't even have to speak. Don't even make me speak.
Mm-hmm.
Just let me see what it's like to be seen. And
Yes.
then at some point, I start to trust it. We start to trust it, and the doors to the floodgates open to our natural expression.
Right.
It happened for me. It took me a while. I didn't start participating in my own classes for the first 5 years.
Yes. Yeah, I remember myself. But what you're saying though is around the listening and the gazing, it's almost like these are channels that get opened up just by people willing to be with each other in this soft, open, non-expecting sort of way. There isn't a pressure there. That's it. It's not a
Yeah.
pressure.
Yeah, it's so funny you say, yeah, all we need is people to agree with a group of people that we agree with each other that we're going to give us this listening so that we have a channel of communication. Yet it's not easy right away because it's
Uh-huh.
different and we're afraid, and so it does take a facilitated few minutes. It takes 5 minutes that I could get a new group into this place, even because I'm so practiced at it, and I know people want it, and I don't say anything that stops them from. So within 5 minutes, I can get a group agreeing to do this for each other. But there's no other. But I don't see it happening in other places where
Mhm.
people have figured out how to ask for it directly by name, meaning ask for this soft, steady gaze of kind regard, because
Mhm.
this is what we need. This is the oxygen that our psyche needs.
Mhm.
So that's that simple thing that I'm hoping to get more into the world. Thank you for talking about it with me and letting other people know about it.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Lee. I'm taking with me, and hopefully the listeners will really get the power of being with each other in this way that is open, expansive. You're giving somebody a listening that they haven't probably received ever. And so it's the listening that's a quiet listening, a listening that has pretty much like an undivided attention and permission just to allow people to be who they are. And it's almost like a welcoming listening is what I'm getting. So it's like, welcome to the world, whoever you are.
It's like
What do you know?
the words I like is, you have a home in my eyes. If I'm supporting a person, welcome home to my eyes. You can live here for now. I won't interrupt.
Uh-huh.
I won't even talk to you about what you said. I'll just appreciate you.
Yeah, good. Well, thank you, Lee. You'll be making quite an impression on those who are going to be listening, because it is so innovative. It is this whole way of reducing anxiety by allowing people to find their voice by others listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Doreen.
Thank you. Bye-bye.